Good morning everybody and welcome back to the channel. On today's video we're going to be exploring the bow drill and how to make a fire. Now, this will be the very first time that I've actually tried to make a full fire from a bow drill. For anyone that follows me on Instagram, shameless plug somewhere here, you will have seen last week that on my way back from a walk in a country park I collected some ivy, and I'd heard previously that ivy was very good for making the half of a bow drill. So I tried in my garage last week and you will probably, hopefully, have seen that I was successful in making an ember. So today's video is all about whether I can take that ember and put it into a bird's nest of some kind and blow it into flame. As you can see, I'm at home at the moment, just in my back garden, and there's no grass in here. It's all just sort of concrete walls and paving. What I'm gonna do is take you into the garage, which is also my makeshift gym, and we're going to get all of the materials together in there just to give me the best chance of success, really. Looks like it could rain. We've had snow and rain heavily over the last couple of days, so let's get in somewhere dry and I'll talk you through all of the different bits that I need to create that fire. So other than my house, this is virtually the only other room that I go to nowadays. It is a garage cum gym. I'll show you around actually. So here we've got my own homemade squat rack. Pull-up bar, lots of different weights, dumbbells. And over on this section, I've got a punch bag hanging up, and I also was lucky enough to grab hold of this piece of equipment, a double cable column. That was from an old school that was selling off their gym gear, and I grabbed hold of that a couple of years back. Then just a space to be able to work out. Good set of kettlebells there. Great tools for keeping fit. But anyway, I digress. The video is not about the gym. The video is about the bow drill. It's not the best lighting in here, so I'm hoping that it will come through on video okay. I'm going to talk you through the various bits first that I intend to use to get that ember. So the bow drill set is made up of 4 different components. We've got a spindle, and the spindle needs to be as straight as possible, really. This was cut from a piece of hazel that I cut maybe about a month or so ago, so it's been drying in the garage. Yeah, hazel's a great piece of wood for a spindle because it naturally grows in coppices really straight, and that's exactly what you need. The next piece is the hearth board, and I think that this can be made from various types of wood, but I've gone for some ivy. There was a website that I looked at that gave combinations of different woods that were excellent to use, and ivy was up there in one of the excellent combinations for the hearth. So as soon as I saw that in my local woodland last week when I was out walking with my daughter, I had just happened to have my Victorinox saw on me, and I cut some of that and brought it home. And I was so excited to try it out, which you can see I've already done. Here, if that's focused, yep. I was so excited to try it out when I got home that I did that. And I had no other materials prepped to actually transfer that ember into a fire or anything like that. I just wanted to see solely whether I could make an ember, which was a success. Then one other bit that you'll need is some kind of bow. And this just needs to be a long piece of wood, really. I think a good dimension is to put it under your armpit and reach to the end of your arm. This is probably one of the world's worst bows because I cut the notch in the wrong side. You know, still learning. But just to help keep the tension on the cord, I also, don't know if you can see that, drilled a hole through it. Ooh, there. I drilled a hole through it to pass the paracord through so I could pull that in, wrap it round and keep it nice and tight. But any kind of wood would do, really, as long as it's hardwood. You don't want too much flex in it. And then the 4th piece of kit that I use, and this is optional really because you don't need one of these, it's in my tinder pouch, is some kind of handhold. And I've got one of these, so this is dual use really, so this will be used as a striker for a flint and steel, but it also has divot in the middle, which is perfect for accepting the spindle. So that's the only 4 things that you should need to make a fire. Let's see if we can get an ember. Because I'm at home, I'm limited to the type of material that I can use on my bird's nest. Just like every man should. I've got random bits of wood in here, and I used this bit of wood to make my very first what they're called feather sticks that I then lit with a ferro rod. That video was also on my Instagram last year. I just happened to keep hold of it. So I'm going to repurpose this, and I'm going to make a couple more feather sticks to use as the actual bird's nest that we'll need to put round the ember to create that fire once it starts going. So that's the first task. Let's make some feathers. Now I'm hoping that will be enough. Seems like it should be. I think they always say, whenever you think you've got enough, do double. But I'm dead lazy and I can't be arsed with that. So what else have I got that maybe could help with this? Well, got some birch bark. I suppose I could pull that down to strips. Add that to the tinder bundle. In fact, I might as well because I've just pulled it apart. I've also got one of these, but that's one of them wool fire starters, and that's impregnated with stuff already to go on fire, so I'm totally not going to use that. That would be totally cheating. But I do have some of this actually. This is a recent acquisition. This is some jute twine that I've unravelled, and it's become like really fibrous. So this is probably going to be the main point where I put the ember, because I think if anything's going to catch a light first, it's going to be that. So that's going to sit in the centre of my tinder bundle, and hopefully I'll drop that ember on top of it, blow it into flame, and then it will catch with the rest of the shavings that I've done from the wood. What on earth could go wrong, eh? Put my knife away before I stab myself. Probably should get some gloves as well. And I'm going to transfer, if I manage to get flame, I'm going to transfer it into my bush box so I can quickly take it outside the garage. The last thing I need to be doing is setting this place on fire. So let's get that organised. And actually what I did notice, this little gadget does heat up quite considerably when the spindle's turning in it. So glove on the top of that should solve any issues. Okay, so what I want to say to myself is prep is key. So I need to get all my stuff together. I'm probably going to try and prep my tinder bundle now as well, just to make it into some kind of bird's nesty type shape. I'm just going to try and press it all together really, as best as it will. Which isn't very good by the looks of it. I'm losing a lot of it underneath here. Oh well, you live and learn, don't you? It's probably not the best thing to use, but I'm still confident I can make it work. I think even if I just had it like that, yeah, it's falling apart because it's very dry. Really what I want is that jute twine to sit inside it, and I want to be able to drop my ember right in here. But that's quite a small tinder bundle. I'll end up burning my hands, I think. Maybe use a bigger bit of birch to go underneath. And hopefully I'll be able to pick it up like that and blow it into flame. Oh well, guess we'll soon find out. Let's start making the ember. So the bow just attaches with a bit of paracord looped over the top. It's just a simple loop on the top of there. And that loops over and fits into this notch. And then I can pull that down, pull it tight through here, and that creates a bow here. Then what I can do is just wrap this excess paracord around the edge, and I'll use that as the handle. And what that does is it makes sure if it's too tight or too loose, I can easily adjust that without having to faff about with any knots. If it's too loose, I can always put my thumb on it to tighten up the actual string. And then the spindle comes up on the inside, passes on the outside, and twists around on itself. And then sits like that. Feels a little bit tight maybe. We'll see how that goes. Spindle should sit on the outside facing away from the bow. Just for good practice, because I've used this spindle previously, I'm just going to cut down. Oh, will it focus? Yep. Just going to cut down the black stuff. Just going to remove that. And that will help it then seat into the wood a bit better. This can get a bit polished. So if I just remove some of that material. And expose some of the wood underneath. Hopefully that will give it a fighting chance. The other spindle end is more pointed than the bit that goes in the hearth, and that is so it reduces friction on the block that it turns in. Usually a good rule of thumb, excuse the pun, is that you want the spindle end that's going into the hearth about sort of thumb width would be a good width. Now we all know that I've got baby hands, so it probably could be a bit thicker than this. And then the other end that goes into the actual block is about pinky width. So let's see if it works. I'm also going to reuse this section here. I did read that maybe you can get you can make 2 or 3 different embers from the same slot, so I'm hoping that that will still work. If it doesn't, I'll make another one here. Seat that into the wood, and I just want to start off nice and slow. Ah, disaster. The paracord is actually worn through. So I'm guessing that was too tight and caused too much heat on the paracord. You can see that's gone clean through. Okay, let's get some more paracord and try again. Okay, so I've got another bit of paracord, and I just thought I'd show you how I make the loop at the top, just in case you didn't know. So what I do is just take the end and bend it over into a loop, like so, and then simply make a knot in that section, pass it through like you would with a normal knot, and pull, and that makes a simple loop. Okay. So I think it's definitely time to cut a new notch. You can see how that's all shiny, and you can probably hear the squeaking of the board. That's not doing what I wanted it to do, so I'm just going to cut a new one just at the side. So you can see here, that's where the new ring is going to be. So I just need to cut a notch into that. Oh, bollocks. Will it be third time lucky? Okay, so it's not going to plan. And I think, well, for a couple of reasons really, but I think one of the reasons is, you might see on that last shot, I actually got it to seat, I got it to smoke, it was building up a nice pile of like ash that we'd expect to catch, but I think this is too thick. And the distance between the heat and the actual embers that would be catching at the bottom is too far. So I'm going to try on this side of the board, and I've just shaved it down just so it's about 1 centimetre. I think that might work. So I'm going to create a new hole here, and then notch it, and then we'll go again, and hopefully this will be the one.
One hour later.
And beat. I'm so disappointed with myself. I don't know. I had the notch just snapped. I don't know what to do next. I really thought that I would get that as well. After last week's triumph on the second shot of getting one of the best embers ever, I must have come in here a bit too cocksure, a bit too confident. And I don't know if I've just been rushing certain steps of it, not making the notch as good as it should be, maybe not getting the spindle quite right. I've learnt a fair bit as well, not to over tighten the bow. But yeah, I just cannot seem to get it today. I don't know if the hearth board is too thick. I apologise, people. Back to Steelman Outdoors and his usual endeavours. Utter failure. Well, there's plenty of videos out there that you can go and check out where people actually did it properly. I will save all of the bird's nest and the jute twine for another day. But I think today we're going to have to call it a fail. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out.